So we also discussed about the historical importance of China, that historically this region has been, very important because the Chinese presence in this region, and in the 300 BC, the Chinese had their Silk Route, which connected China with the rest of the world. So with that Silk Route, China actually connected the whole world with them, especially major civilizations like Javanese civilization in Southeast Asia was connected with China. Indian civilization, which is also one of the oldest civilizations. Then you got Persian civilizations, Arabian civilizations, Egyptian, Somalian, and Europe. So many civilizations were connected with China through this Silk Route, which was actually a trade route through which the Chinese, interacted with other countries. Now, the same thinking is now applied in modern times. The Chinese have got, the Chinese have got another, they have developed more routes now in modern times, which are also part of, considered as new Silk Route initiatives, in which the Chinese are now connecting themselves with the rest of the world through railway lines, through pipelines, through land routes, through maritime routes. So this is some, one of the land route, which is, railway route, which is connecting China with the rest of the world. As you can see, from Beijing, it's a yellow, Silk Route trains, which, pass through this region. And then it connects all the way many countries, around the globe. For example, London तक इनकी जो है वो trains के ये connecting trains जा रही हैं. So this is how China is connecting themselves with the rest of the world. Other than that, historically Chinese, they have been ruling this region. Their Han dynasty was very strong. They were controlling most parts of China at that time, including Korea's, and they were very powerful. And the same Chinese thinking is also applied in modern times. And now China, in modern time, China is also very dominant. If you analyze the China's vision, 2000, in coming years, because China is going to be the number one economy, I told you before, by 2030. So to achieve that goal, China has envisaged many, you can say, initiatives like BRI, which is Belt Road Initiative. Then you got New Silk Road Initiative. Then you got OBOR, One Belt, One Road Initiative. That is also, all these initiatives are one way or the other, they are same. So how China is going to connect themselves with the rest of the world? Through pipelines, through land corridors, through maritime corridors. So this is how China's BRI or OBOR or BRI type of, projects, China is connecting themselves with the rest of the world. So as you can see in the red liners, these are the pipelines which, China has got. China has connected themselves with Russia through a pipeline, oil and gas pipeline. Then China is also connecting themselves with the Caspian region of, Kazakhstan, and another pipeline which is connecting China with Turkmenistan. So these are few pipelines which are there. And then you got land corridors. There are many land corridors which the Chinese have envisaged, especially the one with Pakistan, as you can see, which originate from Urumqi and it connects the Gwadar port. Then the other land corridors are also connecting China with Moscow and with, with European countries. This is their railway lines and others. And then you got many maritime corridors which connect China with the rest of the world through many, ports and many, you can say, bases all around the globe. For example, in our region, as you can see, in Bangladesh, China got a base. In Myanmar, China got a base. In Sri Lanka, Chinese are there. And then in Gwadar, the most important base of China is in Gwadar. Because of that, China, control things in Indian Ocean region with greater impunity, and they can also counter the Indian ingress in this region. So this is something which gives China a very important, clout all around the globe. So if you analyze today, in a nutshell, that China is, spending a lot of money in South Pacific Ocean, South China Sea, where China is located, then Southeast Asia, South Asia, South Asia में Pakistan के साथ they are connected. They are also having about $80 billion of trade with India. Then you got in West Asia, they are also connected with Iran and many other countries. They are buying 80% of the oil from there. They have also invested about $46 billion in Central Asia. And of course, in the other parts of the world, they are also spending a lot of money, and they are expanding their clout, political clout, economic clout, all around the globe. So this is China for you, with their immense economic activity. We also discussed about yesterday about the Chinese global, their role in the global politics. As I told you before, that China has a veto power in the UNSC. They were involved in the Syrian conflict, in which they supported Bashar al-Assad, along with the Russians, and ultimately Bashar al-Assad survived, and the Americans failed in Syria. On the North Korean issue, Chinese have always supported North Korea because of its, ideological affiliation, and of course the geographical affiliation. So historically, North Korea has always been a subservient to the Chinese. So on the North Korean issue, also the Chinese have always supported, North Korea, and the Americans had to face, a backlash in that regard. On the Iranian conflict, the Chinese are also very much dominant because they support Iran and they buy oil from Iran. And when it comes to the harsh, you can say, military action or any other, severe sanction by the United States of America or UN, China always vetoed that. On the Afghan impasse, China, very powerfully, China controlled the Afghan peace process and also influenced Taliban along with Pakistan, Russia, and other countries. And they also hijacked the Afghan peace process. And now the Americans had to face defeat in Afghanistan as well. US-China relationship, we are going to discuss in coming slides as well. Now, both countries are competitors, especially in the economic terms, and also in many other areas. They are, vying for global dominance. So both countries are, they are aspiring to be global hegemons. And of course, China-Pakistan relationship, we have already had a lecture on that. Both countries are, deep. They enjoy deep-rooted ties, political, economic, and strategic ties, and they're very, they're closely aligned with each other, in which the Chinese have, supported Pakistan in all, areas, especially the military one. And then, of course, the Chinese, their best part of China is their economic clout. They are the second largest economy in the world and likely to be the number one economy in coming, years. So that makes China a very important power in the modern times, and they are going to be the, number one economy in future. So soon after, if you these are few facts which you have to memorize, just to give boost to your work. अगर आप ये थोड़े से facts and figures अपने पेपर में डालेंगे, क्वेश्चन में डालेंगे आंसर करते हुए, so that is going to provide you a lot of leverage. So if you analyze in according to 2021 stats, Chinese population is about 1.44 billion, and when you talk about the population, I told you before, this is important because of the labor force, because of the their contribution in the economic growth. So this is the such a huge population can contribute a lot in the economic growth of a country if that population is skilled. So Chinese have got more than, I think, 500 or 800 million skilled population, which is contributing in their economic growth. And now China is one of the you can say fastest growing economies in the world. They also possess huge area which provide China a connectivity with almost 14 states all around four regions. Like, for example, they share border with Russia, they share border with Central Asian states, they share border with South Asian countries, India, Pakistan. They share border with Southeast Asian powers like Myanmar, uske baad niche baki jo hai. And of course, their clout is there in the East Asia region. So China is a big country with huge resources, with huge economic clout all around the globe. They share about 22,000 kilometer land boundaries with 14 countries, which I told you before, and they are spread over all around the all around the area, in which they connect themselves with Russians and the Kazakhstan, Central Asian powers. Now, I think I told you before that Central Asia is a very important part of the region because of oil and gas resources. So this is the reason that China is connected with these countries as well. China's connectivity with Pakistan is also aimed mainly revolves around the economic activity, because China want to connect their Xinjiang province, which is one of the largest but least developed province of China. They wanted to connect that with Pakistan's border port. And China also share a huge border with India, despite the fact that both countries are having bitter ties. But at the same time, they also have a bilateral trade of about $80 billion, which is likely to grow in next 5 years, and which may cross $100 billion. So this is the China's policy. They never undermine, their economic interest for political interest or military interest. So they are improving their ties with India as well. Then, of course, in Southeast Asia also, China is very dominant power, and they are calling the shots. All right. So if you analyze the Chinese access in the waters, maritime areas, so China borders Yellow Sea, South China Sea, and Bay of Korea. All these areas are very important when it comes to China's access to the sea. So China is a maritime power, and when a country is a maritime power, automatically their economy would grow exponentially than other countries which are not maritime powers, which are landlocked. So this is simple, you can say, stats which you need to understand. China holds very peculiar position in Southeast Asia, especially in the South China Sea area. And I told you before that South China Sea area is very important area. This area is about 3.7 million square kilometer, and it's a huge area. So for fisheries, for sea lanes of communications, because huge traffic pass through this region, and of course oil and gas resources. This region is very important. It is believed that this region possess more than 150 billion barrels of oil, and trillions of cubic feet of gas, which is very important for China, because China is growing economy, it's a big population, and of course they want to sustain their economic growth, and they want to be the number one economy in the world. So this is the reason that China is very powerfully controlling this region, so which is called South China Sea, and because of their powerful, posture, their military, no country in Southeast Asia can challenge the Chinese hegemony in this region. Although they get support from US and UK and other countries, but still China is the a dominant power in this region, and they are the regional hegemon of this region. So that is the most important thing. Other than that, China also holds huge amount of natural resources, especially coal, and the petroleum and natural gas and uranium. They are in small size, but coal, iron, all these resources are in big quantity, which makes China very important region. So that is also something which you need to understand. I told you about the oil and gas in South China Sea. This region is huge, and this region has got huge amount of oil and gas resources. Like for example, 350 proven oil and gas fields are there in the South China Sea. So because of these resources, because of the sea lanes of communications, and because of the fisheries in the area, China got issues with the regional powers. Like for example, Vietnam, Taiwan, Philippines, Malaysia. These countries are also claiming certain areas in South China Sea, which is very important area. But China, because of their dominant power, military power, and political clout, they are a veto power. They are a second largest economy. Many countries depend economically on China. So because of all these leverages, China, China is always dominant in this region, and no countries can challenge China's progress. So this region holds huge amount of oil and gas resources. For example, in according to certain estimates, this region possesses about 125 billion barrels of oil, and some sources say that they possess about 150 billion barrels of oil, and 500 trillion cubic feet of gas is there in many undiscovered areas in South China Sea, which is 3.7 million square kilometer area. It's a huge area, much bigger than Pakistan maybe. So this is something which you need to understand, that China is very much interested in South China Sea, and this is the reason that China is behaving so aggressively against the neighboring countries. So, because of China's powerful stature, no country in the region can ever challenge the Chinese. Chinese also possess huge amount of coal reserves, as I told you before, which is about 1.73 billion tons. So such type of huge reserves are very important for China. All right. So if you analyze the Chinese budget, overall the military budget is about close to $200 billion now in 2021, but in 2020 it was about 178 billion. And their military, standing military is about 2.3 million personnel, which is one of the largest in the world, and they are very powerful. They are well equipped. Their army, air force, navy, they are well equipped. And as I told you before, they are the United States of America. Despite the fact they are technologically superior, they are located in East Asia, in Japan, but they can never challenge the Chinese military prowess, because China is the local power. China is the regional power. This area belongs to China. So China is very dominant power in this region. Their army, air force, navy is in huge number, and numerically they are very superior in this region, and technologically also they have improved a lot. Their economy is also very good. It is growing at a very rapid pace. Especially their GDP nominal is about $14 trillion. And if you analyze the labor force, they are about 807 million, which this labor force is actually skilled labor force, which is contributing in the economic growth of China. So overall, if you analyze the Chinese GDP sector involvement, you'll see that services industry, they contribute the most, about 81% of the Chinese economy. And the industry is very strong. China's industry is very strong. Even the Americans and the Europeans, they have got their many companies which are working in China because of the cheap labor force, and the cheap energy, you can say, price. So such type of things have made China economic superpower in the world. And United States of America, today they are in not in good relationship with China, and China improved its political stature after 1971, when Pakistan helped China to connect with the United States of America. So Pakistan under Yahya Khan played a very important role, and Pakistan mediated between China and United States of America. And America actually faced two communist powers at that time. So America wanted that it should, maintain good ties with China, and maintain hostility with Russia, because fighting two enemies at one time is not advisable. So this was the reason that China opened up with America in the 70s, and after that, both countries improved their ties. They fought against Soviet Union in Afghanistan also in the 80s, and later on, the Chinese, slowly and gradually after the 80s and 90s, they started improving themselves, and today they are the second largest economy in the world right now. So both countries improved their ties. Both have got many disagreements now in modern times, especially as I told you before that America considered North Korea, Iran, and Syria as rogue states and axis of evil. But China is ally with all these states, North Korea, Iran, and Syria. As I told you before, that Chinese, foreign policy, defense policy is aligned with these three states. Other than that, China is not worried about the spread of nuclear weapons in North Korea or in Iran, or in Pakistan, because they are in close ties with Pakistan, and they never criticized Pakistan's nuclear weapons program, because they believe that Pakistan's nuclear program is actually for the deterrence purposes. And if Pakistan is strong, automatically Pakistan can prove to be first line of defense for China against India. Other than that, United States of America is also, concerned about the human rights violations in the Uyghur province, in which the Chinese have subjugated the Muslim population of about 9 million. But China is a very powerful country, so China does not care about this. And United States of America is if you analyze the violation of the human rights, United States of America has violated more such type of human rights violations have taken place in the, you can say, by the United States of America, in Africa, in Iraq, in Libya, in Syria, in Afghanistan, in many parts of the world. So such type of things are just shrugged off by the Chinese. They don't care about it. At home, China remains a dictatorship under the Communist Party, and they, closely monitor all things which are related to the state. For example, media is monitored. No person can, talk about or say anything against the Chinese government. If they say anything about the government, they are picked up. So China is basically controlling things at home strictly. If you compare it with Pakistan, we are Jannat. We are living in a Jannat. There are many other things which are, there between these two countries. Especially, both countries are also, they are trying to, they are involved in many other things. Like, for example, the Chinese hackers, they regularly break into the U.S. military computers. For example, in 2009, the Chinese hackers hacked F-35 aircraft program and F-22 Raptors program. So, and also there's, nuclear submarines, their sensors, their communication and other things were also hacked by the Chinese. So such type of things are, creating serious challenges for the United States of America. China has also built satellite systems which can shoot down communication satellite, military satellites in future. And if these satellites are gone, so the Americans would be blind in the air. So that is something which is there, and the Chinese are, coming up with all these capabilities. China have also developed, very offensive capabilities like the anti-ship ballistic missiles to counter U.S. Strength in the area, space, in the high seas. For example, in recent times, China have developed a very important and potent anti-ship missile, which can actually take out American aircraft carrier. Now, the American aircraft carrier in East Asia or in the Asia Pacific is the most powerful weapon the United States have got in this region. For example, that one aircraft carrier carries about 64 aircraft, modern aircraft, fifth generation aircraft. So Chinese one missile, DF-21, can take out the whole aircraft carrier. And America's, backbone, which is their aircraft carrier in the region, China can take out that in one go. और मजे की बात यह है कि the Americans don't have any defense to counter this aircraft, despite the fact the Americans have got THAAD air defense system, Patriot air defense system, and of course the Aegis air defense system. Three types of air defense system is there in East Asia, in the Asia Pacific region. But all these air defense systems are counterproductive against the Chinese missiles. So this is something which is, worsening and threatening for the United States of America. Other than that, the U.S. is legally, committed to providing Taiwan with means to defend itself against the Chinese. For example, United States of America, provide weapon and equipment to Taiwan. And although they never accepted Taiwan, they believe Taiwan is part of China. And Taiwan is not recognized by the UN even. But उसके बावजूद, क्योंकि ताइवान का इशू है चाइना के साथ, so they support Taiwan with diplomatic support, थोड़ी बहुत, हालांकि diplomatic relation नहीं है. उसके अलावा they also provide them weapons and equipment. तो उसको वो चाइना के खिलाफ थोड़ा सा